Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to replace a shifter gear joint on a Subaru. This is a 96 Subaru. This car, I've had this for a long time. It's got almost 282,000 on it. I replaced the clutch last summer and the shifter seemed okay back then. It was had a little play in it, but man, the last few months it's really got a lot of play in it. It's hard to find the gears. And I went underneath the car and I looked at this joint underneath there, and the bushing inside, this one's brand new, and on the inside there's a kind of a rubber poly bushing inside, and it is completely worn out. It looks like it's gone, but it's got a lot of play in it. So I went to Subaru, got a dealership close by. I went and I bought this. This is the part number for this particular model. Yeah, I'm going to put it in. I actually, before I started the video, I removed these two pins from they actually go right here in this hole, and it secures it to the transmission. But I really had a hard time getting these out, and I would have put it on video, but it was just taking me too long. What I found was, if you look at the new pin, this is a new one that I bought, and by the way, that's the part number if you need it. I think this is called a spring pin. This, from what I understand, this is the same pin that they use on pretty much all the models, I believe. That's what they told me at the Subaru place. But if you look at this pin on the inside, you'll see there's the smaller pin and the larger one encompassing it. So what I found was, when I removed this, the easiest way to remove it was to remove the small pin first, followed by the larger pin. And to do that, this was the easiest way. I got this punch set, and I took a 532. It would have been easier if I had a 3/16, but I got this kit, and it had two 732-inch punches and no 3/16. So I'm going to return this, but I was able to do it with a 532, and that actually, on top of this, I've got this 1/2-inch drive here that I use to kind of underneath with a hammer underneath here, and I kind of put this in here, and I made sure it was as straight as I could get it, because it's not a total straight shot. It's almost have to angle it a little bit, but I was able to get this into this small pin and drive it out from the inside of this one. And then I took a 1/4 inch and then drove this out of this part. So that's how far I've gotten so far. I'm going to set this camera up underneath and kind of show you guys. I just started to remove the bolt that attaches to here, this part, and I'll kind of show you how that pops off. I'm going to set this up underneath the car, and I'll try to get you as clear of a shot as I can. Yeah, before I set this thing up, I just want to show you guys, always make sure everybody knows this. Just be safe. Put a jack stand underneath here just in case. You do want to jack the car up and get it as sturdy as you can. But I'm going to get this thing set up under here. What I did do, it helped me a little bit, was I took this fire shield off here a little bit. I just took this one bolt off. I think it's like 12 millimeter maybe, I forget. So I took this off. That way you can kind of push this down a little bit and look back up in here. You can kind of see, I'll get some light on it back there. You can kind of see where that joint is right back behind there. I think this is the best view I'm going to be able to get you guys, to remove that thing. There's not a lot of space up there, but this right here, you can see right where my finger's pointing, that's the shift stay rod. That kind of keeps the shifter, in a stable position. Anyways, I'm going to get this camera set up and show you how to do the rest of this. Okay, you guys, I got this camera positioned a little better. The lighting's not that great under here, but I'm I'm going to kind of show you guys how this thing works. So there's a spring right where the end of my finger is that hooks from the shift stay over to the other side of that gear joint, and I'm going to take this spring out first, okay? And this camera is going to be jolting around a little bit. This part's actually pretty easy. I actually had to do this when I took the clutch out, but place the clutch. Take that out. And this is kind of what that thing looks like, okay? So you guys know, I'm going to set that aside. And I already took the, there's a nut on the back of this bolt. So right where the end of my finger is, see that bolt right there? That's what kind of keeps this all on here on the shifter connector. And on the back there's this nut, and this is I think it's a 12 millimeter. Let me double check. Yeah, it's 12. So you take that off first. I just used this wrench up on the top, this 12-inch, and then I used this ratchet, you know, with an adjustable extra extension here, and got that loose. So I'm going to take that out now. It's coming out. So okay, that's out now. So there's what that looks like. Let's see if I can get some light on it. Set that aside. And I'm just going to take that whole rod and just push it aside, and that just kind of falls down there. Be careful, there's a piece inside that's going to want to come out too, and I'll make sure that gets back in there without any trouble. And that actually is in pretty good shape. There's actually some bushings in here too, inside of this, and that seems to be fine. So, all right, I'm just going to keep that out of the way, and then I'm going to take that piece off. I'll get my other hand up here because I'm going to keep this thing from popping. All right, here it comes. So I got it loose there. You kind of see it coming out there. All right, here's what it looks like. Anyways, yeah, this thing's, I don't know if you can see it, but it is, I'll have to show you in the light after, but it's completely worn out. It's got a ton of play in it. I'm glad I'm replacing that. Wow, it's bad. Okay, you guys, I got this, I want to show you, I got this joint kind of started out here, so you want to make sure this you know, spring, or this spring thing is sticking down, okay? I went ahead and I put the large pin in, just kind of started it so it's kind of flush on the inside in there, so that'll be easier to get things started. So and you want to make sure this is basically pointed that way, and this is down, okay? This little hole here. So I'm going to go on the other side, and I'm going to get this started, and I'll try to keep the video as good as I can with the quality here and the sound. Well, this might take me a few minutes. I might stop the video until I get this thing in place, but it's obviously hanging up on something. Okay, you guys, I got that joint in. That pin was in a little too far, so when you start it, you just got to make sure it's not in too far, otherwise you can't get the joint over that sleeve. So I'm going to go around the other side, and we're gonna keep going now, and I'll drive in that I'm going to drive in that large pin first, and then I'm going to drive in the smaller pin right after that. And I'm using I'll tell you what I'm using when I get around there. Let's see where I put it. Alright, so I've got a 1/4 inch on this roll pin driver, and I'm just gonna get my little thing that I got set up here, this little 1/2 inch extender. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I got a hammer underneath, and I'm just gonna keep driving this in. And it's going in. Looks like it's lined up pretty good. We'll keep going. And these roll pin tools you really need this. So otherwise it'd be really hard to do. Kind of slipped off, but I'll get it in there. Okay. I'm just going to feel the other side. Yeah, it's just slightly through the other side. So I'm going to go a little bit more. I think that's good enough. Okay, let me get the smaller pin now and see if I can get that thing started. So the first one was a 1/4 inch, and this is the 732 actually. So. Oh, here it goes. Going right in. Okay, guys, here we go. It's going in. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that pin is going in. So I'm going to get the little one seated right up against it. I'll go a little bit more if I can. Might be the best I can do, but yeah, I think it's fine. So that's seated in there now. Well, you guys, I'm having a hard time putting that bolt back in to that shifter rod, so I'm taking off the shifter stay, which is this thing right here, and so I'm going to do that right now so I can get that bolt back in. I got this 12 millimeter bolt loosened up already. So this comes out, that goes back on the same way. Bring this whole thing off. Okay. Now I should be able to feed that bolt back in there. I should. There it goes. Now I'm going to try to tighten that bolt back there without knocking anything apart. think I just about got this. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that's tight enough. Take that thing off. Now we'll put this back on. There we go. Yeah, you really can't get this piece wrong. It's got a, yeah, it's kind of oval. It's got a flat part right there. So it gets right back on where it's supposed to go. Head up there to tighten this. Alright, time to put the spring back on. There we go. Alright, that spring's back on now. Seems like everything's okay. Well, we'll see how much that really helped up there. Well, that was it for that part. So I got the pins in. I don't know if you can see, but they're right where my finger is over here. The pins look good. That second pin, or that smaller one, probably can go in a tiny bit more, but I think it looks pretty good. And I got the spring back in. Everything's bolted down okay. Well, this is the old one that came out. You can kind of see in here, if you look really close, there's a lot of play in there without me even moving the whole thing. I mean, the bushing's almost completely gone in there. I don't even see really any of it left. So found another problem though while I was looking at that. So I still have some slop in the shifter, and I took this panel off here, you know, and screwed the shifter handle. So in here, look at that. It's all that bushing's toast in there. Little pieces of it in here. These little bushing pieces. So that kind of, I think that was the majority of my problem, but it's still, that still other piece needed to be replaced. So I'm going to order a new bushing for this, and that should probably fix it after that. So I wanted to give you guys one more good look at this when I finished it here. So yep, it's in there good now. So, and I think that pin's okay. It's not going anywhere, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it's driven up enough. I mean, it's still, you can still feel it sticking out on the other side, so that's good. Anyways, I'm gonna order that other part, and we're done with the video.